Robert Gibbs is under new fire from Democrats for yet another gaffe. Gibbs characterizing liberal critics of the administration as crazy and in need of drug testing for comparing President Obama to President Bush. And that's not all. All of that prompted one Democratic congressman from the state of Minnesota to say that Gibbs' dismissal would be fair. Well, Gibbs just moments ago answering reporters' questions about it all. First, he jokingly compared himself to that JetBlue flight attendant who had that meltdown yesterday. And then when pressed, he got serious. Take a listen.
I don't plan on leaving, and there's no truth to the rumor that I've added an inflatable exit to my office. So,
I mean, do you regret any of what you said to the Hill?
I will say I think there are many times when I read the transcripts, even of answers I give in here, that I could have said things slightly differently.
Well, Richard Socarides is a Democratic strategist and former special assistant to President Bill Clinton. All right, Richard, so here we go again with Gibbs. You and I were talking about him saying the House
Nancy Pelosi
could turn and could go Republican, and then Nancy Pelosi came back and, dismissed him, and you were saying, what is he thinking?
Right.
And now he takes a shot at the core. I mean, the far left may not be liked by the far right, but they're liked by Democrats, and they're important on voting day.
Right, they are. This is such an interesting little episode because when I first heard this, I thought, I was somewhat sympathetic to him because, I work there. The pressures are amazing. I work there in the Clinton White House, not in the Obama White House, but he's constantly under attack from all sides. It's one of the hardest jobs in Washington.
It's a thankless job too.
It's a thankless job, and it's definitely one of the hardest jobs. And you're getting it from everywhere all the time. So it was kind of funny, and I figured maybe he lost his cool. He was blowing off a little steam, and I was a little sympathetic. But the truth is that it was not a smart thing to say. And these are very serious issues, and this is the rap on Obama. The rap on Obama is that he ran for president saying he would change things, and when he got there, he played by the same rules and he played with the same people.
In other words, the far left is upset because he didn't go left enough. They think that he is a true liberal, and they think he's governing, at least on some things, too much in the middle. Like, they don't think that he should have caved on the public option when it comes to health care. And they don't think that he should have sent more troops to Afghanistan. And they think he should have done more to protect gay rights in specific with respect to don't ask, don't tell.
There's a whole host of those issues that you mentioned, but there are also labor issues, there are foreign policy issues, there are all kinds of issues.
But doesn't that belie reality? I mean, isn't it crazy to think that President Obama really could get all of that? He wanted the public option. He tried to get that through. Joe Lieberman killed that.
Yeah. What they think about him, I think the rap on him is that he's not tough enough, and that he doesn't start off from a tough enough position, that he starts off as a centrist, that he starts off from a compromised position in the first place, and that he hasn't fundamentally changed the rules of the game the way he said he would, and that he's playing with the same people. I mean, you hear that he's kept all the same Wall Street types around him, that he hasn't been tough enough on the banks.
I can't just understand it, though, because he's made such sweeping changes.
Well, he has made sweeping changes, and he does deserve credit for them. And part of this...
credit or criticism, depending on your position.
Right. Yeah. Part of this, I mean, some of what Gibbs said, right, you thought maybe could have come from some of your colleagues at this network.
Would you like Sean Hannity or Glenn Beck?
That's right. But I certainly hope he wasn't talking about me. But he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done. But the main criticism of him is that he starts from a middle position and then works inward. That he hasn't been tough enough.
But what about Gibbs? What's he doing? Because first, I want to show viewers this. This just happened a couple weeks ago with Nancy Pelosi, where he took a shot at the House. Right. And look how dismissive the Speaker of the House is about the White House press secretary in an interview she gave shortly thereafter. Watch her.
With all due respect, I don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about what the president's employees say about one thing or another. So we feel very confident about where we are, whether that's well known to that gentleman or not.
To that gentleman or not. She won't even mention him by name.
Well, you know what they're mad about is because if he is saying this kind of thing publicly, even when it's in an off-guarded moment, the kinds of stuff you can imagine they're saying privately, behind the scenes, the kinds of things they're saying about the members of Congress and progressives who are trying to get things done are probably worse.
Does he speak for the president on this, do you think? I mean, do you think the president also has a problem with the so-called professional left?
I don't think this is what the president thinks, but I think that when he says something like this, it's indicative of the kind of talk that's happening behind the scenes within the president's political team.
We had Larry Sabato, political genius and prognosticator, on at the top of our our show in the 1 o'clock, and he was saying the problem that the Democrats have going into the midterms is to motivate them. It's
Right.
not that they're going to go out and vote Republican. It's that they just might not vote at all.
Well, these new voters, these younger voters, these progressive voters that really turned out for Obama and accounted for his big margin when he ran for president, those people are the people who are probably going to stay home now.
Well, and will they do it because they're ticked off at Robert Gibbs? Does that translate to his taking a shot at them?
I think this whole thing with Gibbs today is really more a sign of a bigger problem. And the problem is that, well, first of all, that they're very thin-skinned there. You know, we've seen this before. They do not take criticism well, and it's the criticism that the progressives have levied against President Obama from the start, that he starts from a moderate position and that he's not strong enough, and that when he's compromising already from a slightly compromised position.
Now you sound like Chris Wallace, who said that this is like the most thin-skinned White House he's seen in decades.
They are very thin-skinned.
Yeah, whether it's coming from the left or the right, apparently.
I think so.
Richard, before I let you go, because you worked in the Clinton White House, do you think Hillary's going to be on the ticket in 2012?
I saw that too. I think it's possible. I mean, she won't talk about it, her people won't talk about it, but it is a very interesting possibility, right? And
Richard,
it would be a very interesting stroke, and could be very clever, because it would certainly satisfy the left.
to put her on as the number 2.
To put her on as the number 2, and then some people might even see that if she spends 4 years as vice president, then when he's done,
Monica Crowley thinks
she'd have a
69 is
path.
too old to run for president.
No,
I don't know. I think
I don't
still
think
spring
so.
chicken at 69.
I say no.
All
I
right,
say it's not too young, not too old.
As a woman who has a 69-year-old mother, I say that's young.
How old was Ronald Reagan when he ran for president?
He was
the first
old,
time?
wasn't
Like
he?
73, I think.
70? Okay.
Yeah, right. And he was great.
Richard, a pleasure.
Always.
Well, she lost her crown, but not because of a scandal. Take a look at this beauty queen. Do you notice any